My boyfriend used me for money and cheated, so I cut him off and ended up taking over the business I helped him build. This is a throwaway account. I am a 36-year-old woman, and I had been in a relationship with Nick, who is 37, for 3 years. Now, I am not saying I was a perfect partner, but from where I stood, things were going pretty well between us, at least until about a year ago. That is when I found out he was cheating on me. I have always been financially stable and very intentional about managing my money. In fact, I am on track to be completely debt-free by January 22nd. It was tough trying to forgive him, but he really seemed to make an effort to win back my trust. For about 8 months, things were somewhat steady again. Around that time, he came to me with a business idea and asked if I could help him get it off the ground. I agreed, partly. I wrote the business plan based on his concept, coached him through getting the necessary permits, and walked him through every major step. But then he just did not follow through. First, he claimed he was too busy. Then he said the whole process gave him anxiety because success would not come overnight. So in the end, I built a business from scratch, for him, with the understanding that I would be his main client. It felt like a decent compromise since he wanted me to make him my partner, which was absolutely out of the question. For some context, I went to college. I was not a standout student, but once I landed my first job, I hustled hard to make up for my average academic record. I kept investing in myself, earned certifications, took courses, anything that would help me grow professionally. And it paid off. I have been running my own business since I was 28. When I met Nick, he told me he owned a small agency, but was thinking about applying for a government job since business was slow. That did not bother me at all. Things were good, until I caught him seeing his ex behind my back. That hit me hard. I kept asking myself, what did I do to deserve this? I had gone out of my way to be supportive, dependable, even made sure to look good for him. I paid half the bills and covered my share of the household. On top of that, it was my house we were living in. We went through a rough patch for a while before I made the decision to forgive him and move forward. During that fresh honeymoon phase, he got a better job, became super affectionate, and acted like he really cared about me and my feelings. But by early October, I started noticing signs that something was off. Suddenly, he wanted me to step back from the business I had helped him create. He stopped wanting to go out, lost all interest in sex, and started acting grumpy and dismissive. It was all about him, all the time. He had lost his job the previous year because of COVID, and in January, we moved into a new house that I leased. I absolutely loved that place, but it ended up creating even more tension between us. I am an animal lover, always have been. My landlord is chill about my pets as long as I keep the place clean. I even built a catio, basically a temperature-controlled indoor space for the 10+ rescue cats I care for. That setup has been a dream of mine for years. I have fed these cats for ages, and I just wanted to give them a safe place to live. They are all vaccinated and well taken care of. One of them even had chronic kidney disease, but bounced back with treatment. Nick knew all this from the beginning. The house is spotless, no animal smell, thanks to the automatic litter boxes I invested in. But he started resenting the cats, because he wanted his family to move in with us. That was never discussed. Then he had the nerve to ask me to give up the cats, suggested I put them up for adoption. Mind you, they were never his responsibility. He has not had steady work for months, and I even covered the cost of his business meetings because I did not want to crush his dream. Sure, he contributed here and there, but nowhere near equally. And there was no way I was going to live with his family. They are moochers, plain and simple, constantly expecting handouts. It turns out, he and his siblings have a history of bailing on their partners the moment kids are involved. I figured that out way too late. Nick once told me his ex went crazy after having their child. His brother tricked his girlfriend into moving in with her parents while he supposedly searched for a home. He never found one. Instead, he got her pregnant again, and her parents ended up banning him from the house. Then there is the youngest brother, he took off when his wife had their second baby. And now, all of them, including their mother, live together under one roof. Nick's excuse for wanting them to move in with us was that our house had 3 empty bedrooms and a huge family room. He thought it made sense for them to save on rent. But honestly, it sounded like they never planned to pay anything. Anyway, by the end of October, all the stress caught up to me and I got seriously sick. I never even got a kind word from him, not once. When I was in bed crying from the pain and soreness in my body, he stayed as far away from me as possible. His excuse? He said I might be contagious. But it was not COVID. He never once asked if I needed anything to eat. Barely even checked in on me. I ended up spending Thanksgiving completely alone, still recovering, while he took off to be with his family. The thing is, my own family and friends live far away. I gave all that up to be with him. We had even talked about getting married at one point. And now, I just found out he is back with the same woman he cheated on me with. At first, I thought about hiring a private investigator. But honestly, what would be the point? I already knew the truth. I managed to get access to his phone and found about 3 weeks' worth of text messages. There is no doubt they are sleeping together. I have been holding all this inside, mostly because I was too hurt and too tired to deal with it. I would not wish this kind of pain on anyone. We barely speak now, and he has not once asked what is wrong with me. I checked out his girlfriend's social media, her name is Laura, and did not find much. But her mom's page told me everything I needed to know. Turns out, he has been a part of their lives since at least last summer. All this time, he has been lying to my face. While he was telling me he was going on job interviews and getting no offers, I was out here partly funding his lifestyle. He mentioned a so-called business trip to the British Virgin Islands. Yeah, I no longer believe there is any business happening. Or maybe he is just mixing business with pleasure. I do not know if that whole trip is just a cover, and I do not care anymore. I saw a vague post on Laura's mom's page hinting at a trip abroad, which pretty much confirmed everything I feared. So I have decided, I am leaving him. First, because of the emotional toll this has taken on me. And second, because he is a liar and a manipulator. I could really use some advice, though. I want to make sure I am not forgetting anything as I cut ties with him completely. He is not going to get the satisfaction of knowing I am walking away ahead of time. I already had a talk with my landlord and gave notice that I would be leaving the house a little early. I am going to use Nick's trip as my chance to disappear. I hired a professional pet transport company because I was worried about flying my cats as cargo. All their health certificates are in order, and the company is scheduled to pick them up by 9 in the morning. Nick's flight leaves earlier, he has to be out of the house by 6 a.m. I am moving back closer to my family, and my sister has already agreed to look after the cats until I can get a new catio built. It will be their temporary home. I will be living on my own property now. I arranged for the movers to show up that same afternoon. That gives me enough time to pack my stuff and keep everything separated from his. All of his belongings are going straight to his mother's house. I am not planning to see him or talk to him. I cancelled every single business initiative we had. He will have no access to my clients, and I deleted every version of the business plan. I still need to reset all of my passwords and change every single PIN number for my credit and debit cards, including the emergency Visa card he used. I am also going to empty and close the account I let him use for business expenses. Best to do it while he is in the air, so he cannot pull anything. I do not know if I have forgotten anything, but I plan to leave right away to avoid any drama, like his family showing up to cause trouble. He can go move in with his girlfriend if he wants. From what I gather, she still lives with her parents, but that is not my problem anymore. If anyone has suggestions, please share. I do not want to overlook anything. Update: I have moved out, and I am safe. First off, thank you to everyone who reached out with support and advice. You have no idea how much it helped me. I genuinely appreciate your kind words and took everything you said to heart. I ended up making a checklist based on your suggestions to make sure I left as cleanly as possible. The pet transport company showed up right on time, and I am so relieved that my cats made it through the trip without a hitch. My sister came through big time. She took care of setting up the new indoor catio. It takes up the entire middle bedroom, and it is even bigger than the one I had before. The cats will be happy there. I have never been a fan of outdoor catios. I just prefer keeping my fur babies indoors where it is safe and cozy. They can still watch the world from the windows, and that is enough for them. Nick actually left even earlier than I expected. I thought he would be gone by 6, but he was out the door before 5. I stayed up most of the night canceling subscriptions and services he would not notice, just trying to make sure everything was squared away. I'm really glad I never gave up my home office. He pushed for it, said we needed the room so his family could stay over. He even hinted, no, he expected me, to give up my cats so we could turn the catio into another bedroom. That office is more than just a room to me. It's my space to decompress and separate work from the rest of my life. When I shut that door at the end of the day, I log off mentally too. I could never get that kind of clarity if I was working in the same room I sleep in. The night before the move, I locked myself in, and worked non-stop to erase every trace of him from my life. It was still painful, but honestly, the anger helped. The more I thought about everything he did, the easier it became to despise him. After he left, I sorted through his things until the pet transport company arrived. I was on edge the whole time, worried he might suddenly return, but thank God he didn't. On the way to the bank, I dropped off his business suits at a donation center. A man like that doesn't deserve to wear nice suits. I still don't know why I ever let him convince me he needed to look sharp for meetings. He never followed through on anything. Not one single project. I also donated all our unopened food. I hate wasting food, and there was no way I was keeping it. At the bank, I came prepared with all the documents they needed to drain and close our joint accounts. The teller was kind and helpful, which made it easier. Following advice from some folks online, I went to a different branch, one where Nick wouldn't be recognized. No need to raise red flags. I locked my credit, reported all the cards as stolen, including the emergency visa he used, and unlinked him from every rewards program, pharmacy, grocery store, you name it. I changed my phone number shortly after. I only kept my old one active for a bit in case someone from his family tried to call. That way, I'd at least get a heads up if anything shady was brewing. My goal was to use the 8 hours he was flying to shut down everything financial before he had a chance to catch on. The movers were a bit late since some of the furniture needed to be taken apart. I gave them his entire tool set and workbench, gifts from me that I had no interest in keeping. They also helped dismantle the catio. I asked the landlord to keep the bed. I couldn't even look at it anymore. All of Nick's personal stuff was documented, packed, and shipped straight to his mother. I was told it would take a day or two. The landlord already has the keys. I cleaned everything before I left. But I didn't waste time. I was nervous his family might show up, especially if he tried to use the cards and found himself locked out. I even donated most of my own clothes at the same place I dropped off his suits. I just didn't want to bring those memories with me. I don't dress fancy, so whatever I replace them with will be simple and inexpensive. And I took back all the electronics I bought for him, his gaming console, his tablet, the desktop. Those were all meant to help him get his home office going. The tablet deserves its own story, by the way. Once everything was packed, I drove for hours to stay at a B&B far away, just to make sure I didn't run into anyone from his circle. I'm still tired, mentally and physically drained, but I feel a sense of peace. I did it. I was out before Nick landed in the BVI, found his cards cut off, and realized he'd been blocked from my phone. As I was going through his stuff, I kept stumbling across things that just made me feel even more foolish. But what's done is done. One thing I found was his external memory drive. I opened it to delete anything I'd worked on for him, and that's when I saw it. A digital business card naming his ex, now side chick, as chief marketing director for the company I built for him. Unbelievable. Marketing director. Give me a break. They are living in a fantasy world. I've had people suggest I expose him to her, but the truth is, she already knows about me. I saw the texts. Sometimes she was pressuring him to choose, other times she acted all patient and understanding like he just needed more time. Her mom and sister even checked in on Facebook, at the airport in the BVI. So no, this trip is not about business. Let them pick up the bill now. From the texts, I get the feeling her mom doesn't even like Nick. There were a few not-so-subtle references to parental interference. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're already regretting letting him into their lives. I'm pretty sure Nick's little circus started the moment he tried to get into our old place. Hopefully, the landlord had already changed the locks by then. But even if not, he would have known something was up the second he saw his things had been shipped. I've taken people's advice, I'm going to therapy. My anxiety is through the roof, and I need help grounding myself again. Now, about his tablet. I logged in. It was already connected to his emails and text threads. Cathartic and awful at the same time. That's when I found out he didn't just lose his government job. No, he got fired. And then he lied to me about finding a new one. Then lied again about not getting paid. He played me like a fool. According to his messages, he was just walking around the mall for days. Literally. Wandering through shops, taking selfies. His girlfriend kept asking, "Are you at XYZ store?" and he'd send her pictures to prove it. Like that's an accomplishment. When I started dating him, he was single. That relationship began clean. At least I can say I wasn't someone's side chick. From the messages, I learned they'd already broken up. She's young, 25, employed, and comes from a tight-knit family, from what I could gather on her mom's Facebook. And those texts. They just proved how low he really is. He wanted her to promote his imaginary business. Said once she landed him some traction, then he'd feel comfortable leaving me. According to him, he would have left earlier, but she had to understand how that would affect him. Gross. She sent him desperate messages about looking for a better job, probably thinking that was what was keeping them apart. Sometimes she backed off, didn't push. Other times, she seemed frantic. Then there was the day Nick showed up with this rolling suitcase full of files. He said it was to help us call in clients. I was actually excited, until he casually dropped that the documents were from his ex's office. Apparently, they were meant to be shredded, so we could just use them. That was the first red flag I couldn't ignore. 1. Those were confidential files, absolutely illegal to use. 2. I wanted nothing to do with that woman. Her boss trusted her to destroy those documents, and she passed them along to Nick. Unbelievable. I got a lawyer involved a while ago. At first, I wasn't planning to do anything with the files, but after reading some of the cruel things she said about me while I was sick, I made up my mind. I turned the documents over to her boss through my attorney. I'm done with it. No further action. Just clearing my name and letting them sort themselves out. I didn't use any of those files. I didn't benefit from them. But if she and Nick end up getting dragged for it later, I want it crystal clear, that wasn't on me. Right now, I'm safe. I'm closer to my family, which is what I needed, but I still feel mentally drained. Dirty. Disposable. His friends and family. They all knew. She knew. She even accused me of faking my illness for sympathy. She said I wasn't helping out more financially because I'm greedy. And Nick. He backed her up. He's full of empty promises. Always talking a big game about some industry he barely understands. The truth is, I was the one with the knowledge. I was the one who built anything of value. He never built his own network. He'd rather quit than be told no. He expects success but does nothing to earn it. I will never help a man build himself up again. Now, I want to refocus on my own life. Maybe I'll repurpose some of the business plans I built for Nick and offer them to my sister, if she wants them. At least with her, there's love and loyalty. I need to get rid of this feeling of being invisible and invalidated. Honestly, it helps to know I left a complete mess behind for him to figure out. Let him move in with his sharp-tongued sister, and her kids who treat walls like jungle gyms. Let him find out the business website is gone. He asked me to back him up financially, even expected me to cover business dinners. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to play the big shot and paid for his side chick's family meals with my money. I'll never know. And I don't care. Let him enjoy living with his little brother, right in the middle of his baby mama drama. That ex doesn't waste a second dragging him into chaos. I'd love to see it all unfold, especially when his other brother gets sued again by his ex. That's an annual tradition. Or when his sister loses it because her ex walked out and somehow, it's everyone else's fault. Every time. Let them have him. To everyone who PM'd me asking for business advice, thank you. First, yes, you can start a business with little money if what you offer has real value. Just make sure you know your market. Don't throw yourself everywhere. Don't copy the next trending thing in a saturated space. Second, invest in compliance. There's no way around it. Pay your taxes. Register your business. Get the certificates you need. If you want people to take you seriously, you need to take your business seriously. Third, and this one comes straight from my wounds, don't trust anyone. Not when it comes to your dreams. Not when your name is on the line. Don't share your wins with people who haven't earned a seat at your table. Help your real ones, your loved ones, your ride-or-die friends. But do not mix love and money. Ever. Give people a hand up, not handouts. And finally, don't let the big picture overwhelm you. Macro goals become manageable when you break them down into small actions. Just my 2 cents. Update, January 5, 2022. Thanks for your kind replies and messages. This part of the update is fragmented, some of it came secondhand. I spent New Year's Eve with my family, and it was strange but healing. Peaceful. Honestly, it felt so good, I almost didn't know how to handle it. I'd spent years in a family system that was all tension, all the time. Nick's people couldn't keep peace even during holidays. It always felt like I had to tiptoe around them. But this time, I visited my people. We sat around, caught up with old friends, everyone vaccinated and safe. No drama. No raised voices. Just laughter. I wasn't defending myself or waiting for Nick to explain away my absence. I was present. My sister agreed to let me help her set up a business. I'll coach her through it. She won't even need to chase clients, I'll outsource some tasks to her until she builds her own base. She's already enrolled in courses, taking notes, learning fast. I love how committed she is. Her consistency inspires me to keep going, too. I spent more time with my nieces and nephews, they've grown so much. We also kept the family pets calm during the fireworks. Before I left my old place, I even rolled the storm stoppers down to help with noise insulation. After New Year's, I took a full day in pajamas, watching comedy, eating sushi and pizza, just letting myself rest. That silly, cozy stuff was exactly what I needed. I'm still sick and the trip wore me out, but it might just be emotional exhaustion too. Right now, my only option is to heal. One step at a time. Now about Nick. Yeah. The fallout began. I got a call from my old landlord, Andy. My lawyer had suggested I give him my new number in case anything came up post-move. No money owed, cardio gone, everything dismantled. Still, it was wise to keep that line open. Andy just wanted to verify something. Nick had shown up, claiming his key broke, and asking for the door to be unlocked. Andy refused. Then he came back with his mom and sister, claiming I had left some of his things with the landlord. Ridiculous. Pure lie. I confirmed that on the spot. Andy didn't open the door. But he shared what Nick said, and wow. Apparently, Nick tried to sell himself as some kind of entrepreneur. Said he was a respectable businessman. Claimed I was trying to sabotage him because I knew he'd succeed. I don't even have words. It's like he lives in a fantasy where he's the underdog genius, and I'm the jealous villain holding him back. Spoiler alert, no one's holding you back, Nick. You just never did anything. This whole thing. So familiar. Back when we were together, Nick constantly blamed unknown enemies for his setbacks. No names. Just vague shadows ruining his progress. That delusion started the moment I called him out for not putting in real work toward his goals. And now. He claims this mess is happening because he broke up with me. That I couldn't handle it. Cute. Also, apparently he tried to convince Andy, my landlord, to let him stay the rest of the lease, just to run out the clock until the next rent cycle. Thankfully, the answer was a flat no. And even if he had gotten in, the utilities were shut off. No water, no power, no Wi-Fi, just an empty shell. His sister actually suggested he bring a bed or something and camp in the place for the remaining weeks. But the lease was only under my name, so that was a hard pass. Still, it sparked a tense exchange between her and Andy. According to Andy, Nick and his family lingered around even after being told to leave. He said it was hard getting rid of them. Nick and his mom were difficult, and his sister. She straight up sat on the staircase and acted defiant when Andy asked her to leave. I can't remember her exact words, but whatever she said pissed Andy off. And Nick. He was hellbent on getting back in to retrieve his business documents. Give me a break. Nothing else happened after Andy said he'd call the police. That finally got them to back off, sort of. They just moved their scene to the parking lot. Andy said Nick looked flushed, unhinged, and was talking way too fast. And of course, spent the whole time trashing me. What really got me? Andy said Nick kept trying to put himself on Andy's professional level, like trying to bro down with him, blur boundaries. I felt secondhand shame hearing that. Not because it reflects Andy's opinion of me, but because I once chose this man. Anyway, that's the landlord side of things. I did check with my lawyer. Everything had already been covered before I left, but I got confirmation that suing Nick isn't realistic. He legally used his mother's address as his residence, even in the paperwork during his divorce with his ex-wife. I know this for a fact. My sister found screenshots from his affair partner's mom's public profile. Apparently, Nick's sister and the AP's sister have been at war. I don't know much about the AP's sister's personality, but I know my former sister-in-law loves getting involved in drama. And now. It's playing out online. Cryptic posts. Hostile messages. On Nick's sister's side, it's venom about her own ex, mixed with preachy tirades about betrayal. Things like, never trust someone who offers help but leaves you with nothing. Beware of the little women who act like groupies. They don't love you. They just want your shine until they dump you. And of course, she's tagging Nick on inspirational quotes about family always being there for you. That's exactly them. They hurt people, then play victim. Never a moment of self-reflection, just projection and outrage. Meanwhile, the AP's mother. Losing it. In just the last 6 days, she's gone quiet, except for one glaring detail, New Year's Eve. They celebrated. Her whole family is pictured with their partners, except her. Nick's not shown anywhere. Even more telling. All those pictures from the Caribbean vacation. Gone. Wiped clean. And get this, She wasn't tagged on any of her company's holiday posts. I know their posting style. I obsessively checked during the first round of betrayal. It's a small firm that loves tagging employees in festive posts. She was tagged for Thanksgiving. For every major holiday in 2021. But for Christmas 2021. Nothing. New Year's Eve. No tag. New Year's Day. Nope. They've made 3 posts since then, and her name is nowhere. Her account's still active. She's just not included. Oh, and there's more, because of course there is. Nick's AP's sister, the one who lives abroad, recently posted a photo of all the siblings. And let's just say, it's clear she despises Nick. Zero ambiguity. Still, the AP commented something sweet about family, naturally. And the sister replied with a line that was sugar-coated but barbed. You're amazing. I'm sure God has great things in store for you next year. Remember, when a door closes, thousands open. And whomever shouldn't be in your life will be removed, no matter how painful. That wasn't a message. That was a declaration. Wrapped in glitter, dipped in subtlety, but a declaration nonetheless. Also, her posts lately. All about freeloaders. That whole family is turning their social media into a passive-aggressive battleground. And while I'll never be on Team AP, I'm starting to think she's becoming the scapegoat for Nick's chaos. Something definitely went down. They are not together anymore. That much is obvious. And from what I can tell, she's no longer working at that company, the one that used to tag her in every holiday post. Gone. Radio silence. Her mother, meanwhile, has entered her own personal reckoning. She's been posting non-stop, about parasitic men, about leeches, about mothers always being right. Her whole feed reads like an open letter to whoever let Nick into their orbit. Honestly, I don't think their breakup, if that's what happened, has anything to do with me cutting off his supply. The vibe is different. I get the sense that Nick tried to overplay his hand. Maybe he demanded too much, too fast. Maybe he tried that same manipulative, victim entrepreneur shtick in front of her family and it backfired. Or maybe I'm wrong. But it smells like desperation. And they saw right through it.